Hello everybody, welcome to Storm Reads. Today I am going to be starting a new reading vlog. The first thing I would like to say, because I don't think I've officially said anything, I mentioned it in a reading sprint, but I noticed that I have gotten over 500 subscriptions, so thank you guys for subbing to my channel. Really appreciate it. I've been thinking about maybe doing a Q&A or something like that, so get your questions and stuff thinking about it, and I will mention that in another either video, or I have the community tab now so I can use that, so I thought maybe I might do something there. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sure. That might happen before this video goes live next week or after. I don't know, so we'll see. Anyway, what am I reading? Okay, so it is July, and I'm doing my retro romance summer vacation, and I know that I will not have enough time to read all the books that I want in the 2-week allotment, so I am cheating a little bit and reading ahead of time on some. So I am listening to 6 Rainier Drive by Debbie May Comer. It is the 6th book in the Cedar Cove series. I am getting close to halfway through it. I started this one, I think yesterday. It may have been, yeah, I think it was yesterday. I think. So yeah, made some pretty good progress. I have the audiobook for this one, so that's why I've made some decent progress in it. Also, I am reading The Unforgettable Logan Foster by Sean Peters. It is an ebook that I have out on Overdrive. It's one of my anticipated reads from way back when, and I keep forgetting to get to it. And I seen that it was coming up on Overdrive, and I wanted to get to it, but I'm like, oh, it's an ebook. I couldn't find an audiobook. And then some wonderful people told me about getting the Alexa app on my phone and letting, oh, there she goes off. And letting her read the book to me, which was super cool. So I've been doing that, and her voice isn't really that bad, so if I can get in an ebook through her reading to me, and that's kind of fun. So I've been doing that. It's cute. I forgot to tell you what it's about, but it's about this foster kid who gets adopted by, he's pretty sure they're superheroes. And then I want to pick out a print book that's for my retro, and so I'm going to spin the wheel. So I made this spinner wheel, and maybe I need to find a better spinner, because even full screen it made it really small, and I didn't realize it was going to do that. But I put all the books that I have in print book form for my retro romance readathon, and I'm going to spin the wheel and read that one, and we'll see how that goes. This is an experiment, because I'm kind of moody, and I may decide I want to read something else even in the middle of reading this one, so we'll see. Okay, so Mask of Enchantment is what that says. Would be this one, Mask of Enchantment by Carleen Cross, and this one is in the Scottish borderlands. She wove a desperate fiction only to discover her heart's dearest dreams. She is accused of murder as actress Alyssa fled London for Scotland in the drab garb of a prim governess. Her employer, Jared Braxton, was supremely masculine and impetuously attractive, with the manner of sorely tested proud Alyssa's assumed meekness, because she's not meek, I'm guessing, because she's an actress. It says, yet despite their clashes of will, they are one in their devotion to Jared's little girl, whose soul was wounded by her mother's shocking death. For the mahogany-maimed beauty was not the only one with a secret within Hawkstone's magnificent walls. Jared, too, kept his brooding counsel, Driven by the passion that burned between them, he seized on an unforeseen discovery and forces Alyssa to become his wife. Still, they denied the tenderness that charged their desire until they were enmeshed in a deadly intrigue that threatened all they treasured. So, that one sounds really interesting, and so I get started on that one. It's a little chunky than I would hope, but I have some chunky ones on here, but they sound so good, I have to give them a try. It has 310 pages. It's not that bad, but it's got a little teeny tiny writing, and my eyeballs aren't so good anymore, and so it takes me longer to get through them. But yeah, going to that one. And so far, that is pretty much all that I know I am in the middle of right now. I'm sure I will start something at some point, because I always do. You know me. I'm a mood reader. Even though I assign myself something to read off of a TBR, I don't stick. So, I will be back whenever I finish something. So, hello everybody. It's Monday, and I am coming on here because I have finished a book. And this book would be 6 Rainier Drive by Debbie Maycomer. It is the 6th book in the Cedar Cove series. And I will say, it's been a while since I started this series, and this is definitely, I think, a series that you shouldn't let too much time go in between, because there's so many characters, and I was so confused at the beginning because I couldn't remember some of these characters and what was going on with the characters, because this is a series that you have to read in order, because there are so many things that transfer from one book to the next. And so there were some things that happened in like book 5 that were still being talked about in book 6, but I had kind of forgot about some of those things. So it took me a while to kind of get caught up with things. And then you've got all the side romances and all these things, and so yeah, it was a lot to take in because it's been a few years. And so I liked it. I would give it 4 stars because it was good. But at the same time, I was like super confused a lot. But it still had some of my favorite characters in it. And once I got going, it was okay. It's to the point to where it's starting to be about characters that I don't really know very well. But at the same time, it's still okay. I like, you got your favorites, my favorites, which were the first 2, which was Jack and Olivia, and Grace and Cliff. They were my favorite characters and my favorite couples. And you still get them a little bit in here, but then you have all these other, mishmashes of a love interest and things going on and people in trouble and all that kind of stuff. It's romance kind of, but almost at the same time more just like a contemporary fiction of like a small town of Cedar Cove and what's happening in them. I mean, even the back, when they tell you about it, it says like, "Dear reader, this is what's going on." And you know who it's going to be, like, one of the main, like, romances is going to be about is whoever is on the back. So, like, this one was about Justine and Seth. But even though we have watched them grow, and I mean, they were already, they're already married. So, like, you watch that, stuff happen. But this just happens to be about some things that happened with them in book 5. And so you're dealing with that. But then you also have new relationships that are happening in this book as well. And that is why you really need to kind of read them in order. I am reading the Mask of Enchantment by Charlene Cross. This is my spin that I did. And I'm on chapter 2, which is page 17. It had a very atmospheric start to it. Like, the paragraph that it started, it was very descriptive. I'm like, ooh, hope it's not like too descriptive, but a lot of the older ones were kind of like that. But so far, it's okay. I thought, whenever I read the back, I thought it was going to be a certain way, but it's not. she's accused of murder because she actually, whether she actually killed the guy or she thinks she did, whether he's actually dead or not, we do not know as readers. We just know that she is running because she did whack the guy with a really hard object, and he's on the floor and he's bleeding and stuff. So, and then she took off running. She's an actress. She lives at this like boarding house for, I think, other actresses and other, just women who are kind of on their own or whatever. And the landlady there helps her because she used to be an actress, and one of the boarders, who was supposed to be a governess, had an illness, and she dies from this illness. She finds out about that when she got back to the boarding house, and so she tells her, what we're going to do is you need to put her clothes on and you need to do all this, and they kind of doctor her up to make her look a little older, and there's a guy coming, a Mr. Braxton, and he's supposed to be coming there to pick up this Miss Pembroke, who was supposed to be the governess for his daughter. And his daughter's been mute for 2 years since her mother died. And this Miss Pembroke was supposed to specialize in how to help troubled children. And she's like, I don't think I can do this. She was reading the notes, the letters that they had passed back and forth. And she's like, I don't know if I can do this. I mean, he's expecting some kind of miracle worker, and she doesn't know anything about kids. I mean, she's an actress. So, gotten to the part where he's just now come to pick her up. So, I'm kind of curious how things are going to happen. But, yeah, I thought she just kind of just got mistaken for the governess. But no, she is pretending to be the governess. So, I'm interested. I'm going to put this into the thick of things because I do need to get started on it. And so this is The Trench by Steve Alton, which is the second book in the Meg series, and it's for my Jaws prompt to read a monster book. And I thought, what better time to read another shark book as, in a Jaws readathon. So we're going to do that. I am happy to find out that it's really thin. It's because I have to read it by the print. I don't have an audiobook for it. Couldn't find one anywhere. It's a bummer. But going to do this one. Haven't started it yet, but it's going in the mix. So I finished a book yesterday, and I think that I may not have talked about it, so I'm going to just go ahead and talk about it now. And that is The Unforgettable Logan Foster by Sean Peters. And this one was really cute, and it was my first time letting Alexa read a book to me, which I highly recommend. She's not got like a great voice, but it wasn't too bad, I have to admit. So I did listen to that on my phone, and it's cute. It's about Logan Foster, who is a foster kid, and he has kind of like a photographic memory. I can't remember what they called it, eidetic memory or whatever, but photographic memory. And he's a little strange to others because he doesn't hold his words back. He just kind of, whatever's he's thinking about, he just goes ahead and says it. And so it's almost like he doesn't know how to like tell a lie. I mean, if he doesn't like something you're doing, he just tells you. Doesn't make him a lot of friends. And so it also, I think he has been kind of up for adoption and then put back, or like for foster. He's been in different foster cares and things. And so there's a couple that comes, and he's not getting his hopes up or anything like that because, nothing ever works out. But on their way to go, they were going to just go out, I think, and hang out. Like this weird earthquake happened, and lava comes like spewing out of places, and they kind of shove him back, and then he ends up being like with the family, the foster people or whatever it is, the social workers or whatever, I can't remember exactly. And when he looks around, like the two that were supposed to like take him out or whatever, they're like gone. Gil and Marjorie, I think it is, or something like that. And he's like, where did they go? And then everything kind of settles down, and whenever it's like he never hears from them, and so he's thinking, well, there it went, another one. They don't care about him or whatever it is, but then they do come back like a couple. I think it's like not like, I don't know if it was the next day or if it was like a couple days. But they did want to they wanted to take him home. They wanted him to be their son. They wanted to foster him. And he's not really sure about what he feels about this, since they, kind of didn't call him or anything to see how he was doing after everything that happened. But they explained to him that, they were busy. They had some things they had to deal with because of what had happened. And he notices when they go to their house, like, it seems like everything is like really new, like like they've bought everything. They bought this house and they bought everything, so like everything's like brand new. And he's thinking that's kind of strange because it doesn't really look like it's lived in. And then he notices some other strange things about his new foster parents. And the more he gets to know them and everything, he finds out that they're not ordinary foster parents, because they're superheroes. And that gets him into a lot of trouble, basically because there is some evil, of course. It's good versus evil, and he gets kind of wrapped up in the middle of everything. There's a neighbor girl that he notices, kind of strange, because she goes from one house and grabs something, goes to another house and grabs something. He's like, what is she doing? Is she stealing or whatever? And it just comes to find out that her parents are divorced, and her father bought a house right next door or whatever. So that's kind of strange, because she goes back and forth between the houses. But she gets kind of wrapped up into some things, and then you find out some like interesting things about her. And basically it's about the superheroes. Like, there's some things going on within like the community of superheroes, and he just seems to get wrapped up in the middle of it. And it was cute. I liked it. There was these moments where he's not quite sure he wants them to be his foster parents. Because, they got a lot going on, and maybe he doesn't want to be in the middle of it all. And you do have your classic like showdown with good versus evil and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was fun. I give it 4 stars. It was cute. It's the first time I've read anything from this author, and I just noticed when I'm looking at Goodreads, because I brought it up because I couldn't remember the author's name. It just says the unforgettable Logan Foster #1. So evidently there's going to be another one. So I'm excited about that, to see what else Logan Foster will get into with his superhero parents. So that'll be fun. So yeah, finished that yesterday, and so I think that's pretty much everything I have to talk about. It's super hot here, and I look like a hot mess, but you'll just have to excuse it because it's really hot. And I'm like, this is me. This is how I look. Hair's messed up. Sweaty, shiny, everything. And so I will talk to you again whenever I finish something, hopefully. Hello everybody. It is Thursday. Yeah. I forgot what day it was. It's Thursday, and I thought I would come on here and talk to you because I finished a book yesterday and I just forgot to come on. And so that book would be Buried in a Good Book by Tamara Berry, which is the first book in, I think it's By the Book Mysteries. Don't quote me on that one, but I think that's what it's called. And I really, really enjoyed it. Cozy mystery. I thought it had a lot of good cozy vibes, but it also had a kind of an interesting mystery, and it had a shocking ending to me because, like, I totally didn't even, I wasn't trying to figure it out. I was just listening to it because it was just fun. And so it was just fun. I was just being entertained. I wasn't really trying. But at the same time, when it came to the killer reveal, I was like, oh my gosh, I totally wouldn't have went there. So I was a little shocked. It was kind of fun. And anyway, this one is about, what is her name? Okay, it's about Tessa, who is a mystery writer. She has a long-standing mystery series about Detective Gonzalez, I think it is. And so she's very well versed in a lot of things, to do with policing and stuff like that. Though she still makes up a lot of stuff because, I mean, it is fiction and everything. So in her head, she's always, oh, this would make a good scene in the book, this would, or whatever. Just so happens that the guy, whenever she moves back, I think it was her grandfather's cabin, kind of in the woods, and she has come there to write and to kind of vacation and just kind of straighten out her life a little bit. She has gotten a divorce and she's got her young teenage daughter with her, and so they're just kind of there, just kind of recouping stuff. And the right off the bat, like they discover a body, and so the policeman that works there, the detective, reminds her a lot of the detective in her story. Looks kind of just like what she would picture him like and everything, which of course everybody else has already realized that about him reading the books and things. And so he's kind of a grumpy. He's a little grumpy, but at the same time he's kind of fun. But she, right off the bat, she's like telling him all kinds of stuff about crime scene things and that stuff, and he's like, I know, detective kind of thing. I was a little worried because I thought, oh no, this is going to be one of those where the amateur sleuth thinks she's like knows a lot more than the detective. But yeah, she did try to boss him around a little bit with some of that stuff, but at the same time it was funny. It was done in a funny way. It wasn't done in like a rude way. Like she knew, like he'd be like, I do know what I'm doing or whatever, and she's like, oh, I know, but I'm just saying, because I wrote it this way. And he's kind of like, that was fiction, this is real life. And it was just fun. And it was like that kind of banter between the two of them, like through the whole thing, which was a lot of fun. That's why I said I was very entertained for a first book in a series. This is the first time I've ever read this author, and I really liked it. I can't wait for the next one to come out. The next one comes out, I believe, in November. And so, yeah, I'm excited for the next one to come out. It is called On Spine of Death. And so I'm a little curious to see how things are going to go from what happened with the ending of this one. So, because like I said, there was quite a little bit of a shocking ending type thing. And so I'm kind of curious to see where it's going to go. And hopefully it's going to be just as fun as this one, because I gave this one 5 stars. I don't give a lot of first in series cozy mysteries 5 stars, but I absolutely loved it because I was really entertained with it. And I liked the mystery, I liked the cozy, I liked the characters. The characters were a lot of fun, and so it just kind of checked up all the boxes, so I really liked it. And yeah, so what I'm reading right now, I am almost done with Castle Deadly, Castle Dark by Veronica Bond. This was a book that I was hoping to get to, but my library didn't have it. And so I was requesting and hoping that, one of the libraries that I have on Overdrive would get it. Because I'm like, come on, please. But none of them had it. And then one of my lovely viewers and one of the friends that I have in Killing Time with Cozies, she was really sweet, and she gifted me an audio version of it from Audibles, and so I was able to listen to it because we're doing a buddy read this month, and I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get to it, so I was kind of bummed, but now I get to. So thank you to you, you know who you are. And yeah, so I'm also reading this one still, Mask of Enchantment by Charlene Cross, and I'm not gotten very far, but it is kind of interesting so far because like the heroine has kind of disguised herself to look a little bit older and frumpier than what she's supposed to be, because she is supposed to be a governess, but she's an actress. And this guy thinks he's picking up somebody who's just gotten over being sick and everything. And so, but at the same time, she gets a little rough with him, a little verbally rough, and he's not into that. He doesn't like women who are, gonna snap at him and things like that. So he's not a big fan of her already. But he's going to go along with it because she's supposed to be able to help his daughter, because his daughter hasn't spoken in 2 years since her mother's death. So she's been mute and traumatized, and this lady's supposed to be able to help, except for it's not the lady that he thinks he's getting, because it's this actress who is pretending to be that lady. And so I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to go whenever he finds out that she's not who she says she is. Some of her makeup rubbed off on his jacket because they were in a coach and there was almost a collision, and so there was a movement and she landed on him, kind of, and she notices that some of her makeup was, so now she's like, oh no, some of my makeup's come off. So like she's afraid that, like, you know, he's gonna see that, like, there's this makeup. She's trying to fix it, and she looks at her glove and she's like, oh no, I'm just making it worse. And so she's trying, and then she gets kind of snappy at him again whenever he's asking her, you know, things, and he's like, listen, are you afraid of me? Because if you are, you have no worries. I have no intentions towards you. I just want you to help my daughter. So it was kind of funny because he's like, what is this lady's problem? But yeah, so I can't wait to continue on with this one. It's kind of fun. And I think I might have mentioned this already, but I am starting this one, but I haven't really gotten anywhere. I think I've read like a couple pages. I need to get started on this one. And this one's Trench by Steve Alton. And oh, I got another book that I wasn't meaning to like get, but then I was looking at things at the Overdrive Library, Libby, and I found one of the Harlequin treasures, the treasuries or whatever they have, and so these are from the 90s, and I found The Wastrel by Margaret Moore, which is #1 in the most unsuitable men. So I decided to go ahead and read that since I have it on for ebook. And I, since everybody has introduced me to the fact that if you get the Alexa app on your phone, she will read to you. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. So I'm letting her read this book to me. It's kind of fun whenever I'm busy doing other things and I can't get to it physically by reading, you know, I can let her do that. And if I want to read it, I can. So I think that's kind of cool. And so, yeah, so far this one is kind of fun because it's about, of course, a wastrel. I can't remember his name. Oh, his name is Lord Paris Mulholland, I think. And he's, of course, you know, like a conniving kind of, he likes to place bets on stupid things, and he just does stupid things, and he's got a reputation. And she is this nice, Clara is like this nice girl who is poor, kind of poor. She is living with her aunt and uncle, and her aunt is an artist, and her uncle is a writer, so it's not really got like the grounds for, you know, a coming out, I guess you could say, and stuff. But, and of course she meets him, and I'm sure things are going to happen, but I haven't gotten very far in this one either. I think I'm about 15% into it, but so far it's kind of made me chuckle a few times. So got that, and yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that I need to say, and hopefully I will get something else finished before the end of the week. Hello everybody, it is Saturday evening and I'm here to wrap up the vlog, but before I do that, I have 2 books to talk about. I finished 2 books today. Go me. And they're books I've been working on throughout the week, so it's just time to wrap them up. And one of them is Castle Deadly, Castle Deep. I got this one from a friend for my birthday, and I was really excited to get to it, and I really enjoyed it. I think I like the first one better in this series. One of the main reasons about this one is the romance between the main character. It was getting on my nerves a little bit because Dash, kind of miscommunication, that almost felt like a romance trope. The miscommunication thing between the two, and Dash was getting on my nerves a little bit. Instead of just talking to Nora about things, he was like ignoring her kind of, and she had no clue why he was acting the way he was and stuff like that, and so it was kind of annoying. Another thing that was interesting is that in this one, the person who ends up killed was somebody that you would have not you would have not expected, I guess. And so it was a little sad because it was like, oh no. And usually you can kind of pinpoint who's going to die in a cozy. They're the mean people, the landowner, the person who is coming in, has a new business, or things like that. The ones that are just kind of nasty. So yeah, this one was quite surprising, and which made it a little bit sad. And but that's made it also a little bit different. And the wrapping it up on who did it was also kind of a little surprising. I didn't see that one coming either, and so I think that was very well done. It could have gotten a little higher rating, I think, if I wouldn't have been so annoyed with the romance aspects of the cozy mystery this go around. Though thank goodness that got fixed, but it was still annoying. But yeah, this one they were doing one of their dinner theater things, and they were in they had to go and pretend like they're going into these catacombs or whatever. And so when they were doing that, and a lot of them, they were following each other, and somebody was stabbed, and Nora almost pretty much fell over that person, and she thought at first that he tripped, but he didn't trip. He was stabbed. So yeah. And so that was kind of interesting, kind of how it happened and everything too. But yeah, so overall, I really liked it. It was a buddy read that I was doing with some of the gals from Killing Time with Cozies. And so far, everybody seems to be really enjoying this series. There's only 2 out so far, so at least I'm caught up. Ta-da! Doesn't happen often. Then the next one is The Wastrel by Margaret Moore. It's the first in the Unsuitable Men series, I think it is. And it's from 1990, so I'm getting a little jump on my retro romance readathon. It wasn't even on my TBR. If you've watched my TBR, this was not on there. And neither is book 2 that I want to get to. But I found them on Overdrive, and I thought I would give them a try, especially since I can get Alexa to the Alexa app to read to me. And it was entertaining enough. It wasn't anything unique or anything like that when it comes to historical romances. But I did like the characters. I liked Lord Paris Mulholland and Claire. I can't remember her last name. But she comes from... her family was disowned by the Duke because her mother decided to marry underneath her, and so she was disowned. So her parents are dead, and she has been raised by her aunt and uncle, and her grandfather has never even acknowledged her existence. So she actually is of a noble birth type, kind of, but not ever acknowledged. So she lives with a aunt who is an artist and an uncle who thinks he's a writer. And they're very embarrassing. They do things to really embarrass her. And they're very vocal. They don't really care about what people think about what they're saying. And she just wants to be respectable. And, she's like, I'm never going to get a suitable match because nobody's going to want to deal with her aunt and uncle kind of thing. And they can just be, like I said, very embarrassing. And she wanted to, her aunt, spit it out, her aunt wants to paint a portrait of Lord Mulholland, and so that's how they kind of get together, kind of, because they spend a lot of time at his house because they come there to do the portrait, and he kind of makes fun of her a little bit at the beginning, but then the more he gets to know her, he really starts to like her, but he thinks she's beneath him, and he has to marry somebody who's of the same kind of caliber as him, I guess, casting wise or whatever. It's like the noble thing or whatever, that historical thing. Words are not happening tonight for some reason, so, but you get my drift. And, but, you know, she really is if he knew who her grandfather was. But yeah, so he's always kind of taunting her a little bit and teasing with her a little bit. And it was fun. He's not really, that everybody considers him a wastrel, but he's not really that bad. But he just lets everybody give him that reputation because he just didn't really care and everything. And then he kind of rethinks that whenever there is somebody who he likes, but she thinks that he's so bad and wicked, but he's not really. And so yeah, it was interesting. I liked how it ended. Um, it wasn't like, you know, anything unique or anything like that. It's from the 90s, and I enjoyed it enough. I gave it 3.5 stars. I would probably give it 4 stars on Goodreads. But yeah, I'm really interested in the second one because it involves Hester, and we meet Hester in the first book, and she's really quiet and everything. So and she gets to meet somebody who's like very like different than she is. It's called the Dark Duke, I think it is. So yeah, so very unsuitable. If we're doing, it's called the Unsuitable Men. So I think that one will be kind of fun. So I can't wait for that one. And so I will probably be getting to that one pretty soon. But I have my stack over here that I've actually talked about that I need to get to as well. So anyway, that is pretty much everything. And so let's just go over. I read, let's see, I read 5 things. Go me. I wasn't really sure if I was going to make it through very many this week, but I made it through 5, which is really good. I did The Unforgettable Logan Foster by Sean Peters, and it was cute. I gave it 4 stars. And then 6 Rainier Drive by Debbie Maycomer. And this one was a little confusing because it's been a while since I've been in the series, but overall I enjoyed it, and gave it 4 stars. And then what else did I? Oh yeah, Buried in a Good Book by Tamara Berry, which was really, really good, and I gave it 5 stars, which is really unique for me when it comes to first in the series and a cozy. So you know it had to be really good. And then Castle Deadly, Castle Deep, and then The Wastrel. So there we go. All the books that I read. Yay. And so if you've read any of these books, feel free to let me know what you thought about them in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.